Hello, hopeful friends. I'm Della from Quilt of Hope, Cornwall. It's the 13th of March, so it's Pinkoween Cornwall Day. I've been carrying on with my hexagons from my frat quarters, and I've done quite a few. Three frat quarters this month. So that's that bit. What I wanted to show you this month was sorting through my bits and bobs. I found this hole punch, which are a great make, and I thought, that's what I want for making a little hole into my hexagon papers so that they're easier to take out. And I didn't look at it too closely, and I discovered it's a little heart punch. So I've been going through my cut out hexagons for these and punching out my useful hearts, or useful holes. Look at that, makes little confetti type things. Isn't that sweet? So of course I'm going to keep those and make them into something else. I don't know what yet, but you know me, I'll find something. One of the things I really love about this punch, apart from the fact it's heart-shaped, is all the little bits don't fall out all over the place. There's actually a little trapdoor. Isn't that cute? So I'm going to find a little box or a little pot to put those in, and I'm sure they'll be used for something. Do you remember last month I made this little needle case? Oops. And unfortunately I ended up with the pink on the inside. Well, I've looked at it and played with it for a month. I've decided I really don't like it this way round. I want to have the pretty bits on the outside. Oh, of course, this is very pretty, but this is my Pinkoween needle case. So it needs to have Pinkoween on the outside. So I've got my trusty Jack the Ripper. And I'm going to undo, I haven't got to undo much, just the little tacking stitches I did in the ditch. They weren't going to be the forever ones anyway, because it was just a little running stitch. Actually, it might be easier just to rip the ladder stitch that I used to join them together. That's it. I need to pick out all these little bits. Thank you, Jack. Hope not to see you again for very, very soon. Always useful though. So here we are, separated again. And I thought, while I'm at it, I'm going to make this even more pretty, as I've decided this is going to be the front and the back. This one's going to be the front. And I'm going to add some of my beautiful gold Madeira thread, which is a 40 count thickness. It's lovely and fine. And I'm going to do a little blanket stitch all the way around there. Now this is a little bit fiddly. It's very prone to shredding, so you can only use very short lengths at a time. And then it's also a little bit fiddly to thread your needle, because it tends to shred there as well. So I might only have the patience to do the front, but we'll see. Let's see what happens. So I've threaded my Madeira thread onto my needle. I've actually done it double because it is very fine. And luckily, where I folded over my Quilt as you go hexagon, there are some tiny little gaps still, so that I can bury my knot, which is always a good plan. And I think I'm going to do it all the way. So when you start, not button, I keep calling it buttonhole stitch, it isn't, it's blanket stitch. It's the same stitch, but it's wider, wider gaps. You have to start the first one off by itself. So I'm going to thread that down again, and then I can carry on. You see what I mean? This is quite stiff, this thread. So you have to work quite slowly. And I don't usually wear a thimble, but I've been doing quite a lot of sewing today, so my finger's getting a little bit sore, so I need some protection. I know some people can't work without a thimble at all. It's not my usual way. You're not going to believe this. I don't like it. Oh dear. This does not look how I envisioned it. Come on, Jack. I'm going to come out to play again. Oh dear. Sorry, folks. See you on the other side again. Okay, here we go again. So I've threaded up again. Jack's done his job. And I've decided I'm just going to do a very simple running stitch. This is very easily knotted. Come on. I'm not getting Jack out again. So not only will this look quite pretty, hopefully, in a subtle way, but it will actually quilt it down, because it is a quilt as you go. And as I said earlier, you need to have a short length of thread, and I think this is probably far too long. I was getting impatient because I've already unpicked it once. So I also think that because this thread is very fine, with hindsight, if I had done a blanket stitch around the edge, it would have got worn very quickly. So this way, hopefully it'll be decorative, but it'll also last longer. So in case my thread breaks, I'm going to stop filming and just do this off camera. Definitely need a shorter length of thread. By the time I did this one, I was using thread that was only, although it was double, it was probably only about 8 inches long, and could almost do running stitch in the end. So definitely better to do it shorter threads. So there we are, very subtle. In real life it's quite sparkly, quite subtle on the back, but you definitely get that quilted look. So thank you very much, needle. You can stay there for a minute. Now I need to put it back together again. I need to remember this is going to be the front, that's going to be the back. So I need to ladder stitch down there, and I'm going to do that in normal black thread. That didn't take long. Just a simple ladder stitch. And I've got a bit of thread left on my needle. So I'm going to add the felt. Now this is what happened last time. I looked like that. And I went like that. But of course I need to turn it over. Otherwise the same thing will happen. And I'll have to get Jack out again. I think he's worked enough today. So I'm just going to do a simple running stitch up there, stitch in the ditch, and we should be done. So there's my needle case finished the way it was supposed to be done. Best laid plans and all that. When I was looking for my thimble, in my pretty sewing box, because I've got a scruffy sewing box and a pretty sewing box, and a few more, haven't we all? I found this lovely gold kilt pin, or a large nappy pin, but it is gold. You probably noticed I like black and gold. And I had an idea. Oops, on the pin on the outside. Now that isn't going to move, not very well anyway. And then I can just pin that to my work bag, or I could even pin it onto the top I'm wearing, or I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit of fun. And I also found this lovely breast cancer awareness pin. Now I do have a whole set of these. I don't know why there was only one in that workbox, but I must find those. But I'd completely forgotten about these. These were purchased with some fabric for a quilt that I'm never going to finish. I'm never going to finish it the way I intended to, because after cutting it out, I realised it really wasn't for me. So I'll show you that another time. I do have plans for it. So I thought I will put that in my Pinkoween needle case, and I think I'll put it on the inside. And really, this isn't going to be a practical pin. It's just to remind me why I do what I do. That's this month's 13th Pinkoween Cornwall Day. I've cut out some patches. I've remade my needle case the way I wanted it and a little bit prettier. And I found my hole punch. I have no idea what I'm going to do for next month, apart from some more hexes, because I still have some more fat quarters to cut out yet. Meanwhile, stay hopeful. Bye.